Penal Commissioner Bob Walsh today okayed the installation of temporary barriers consisting of buckets of sand, saying Jersey barriers could hinder the entrance of fire apparatus. Walsh will meet tomorrow with the head of the selectmen and the fire chief to further examine the use of Jersey barriers. Jack?
Barrels filled with sand, a 2.5-ton truck half blocking the driveway, plus a flimsy 2x4 now make up the security system at the Deer Enough.
You can't call it really a prison, and if it doesn't have too much of a gate going across it.
It worries you.
Oh, yeah.
Last month, a letter to Mayor Flynn from the town selectmen charging worsening conditions at Deer Island and inefficient security has so far gone unanswered.
All of our complaints, all of our recommendations that we have made to the Penal Commissioner and the City of Boston relative security out at Deer Island, just gone nowhere. Absolutely nowhere.
Since April, when the Winthrop Board of Selectmen complained about the inadequacies of the front gate, 3 cars with escapees in them have made it past the gate. And the chairman of the Board of Selectmen says Boston is completely ignoring his suggestion that Jersey barriers be put up as a temporary stopgap. But Boston's penal commissioner believes Jersey barriers could block fire engines, and so he's gone with the interim measures and faith that a new gate system to be installed next month will work.
The gate is very, very important, and hopefully we'll get up and running with that by February.
But in the meantime, are the barrels in the truck enough to prevent another car escape?
We hope that that's the case.
And as for yesterday's escapees, Stephen Hewitt and James Ryan were arraigned today on a variety of charges, including attempted murder. Marty Sender, The New England News, Winthrop.
Here's what happens next. Tomorrow, the Boston Penal Commissioner will meet with Winthrop selectmen there to review the interim security they planned for Deer Island. And tonight, the injured corrections guard who was at Mass General being treated is back home.
Now, Boston Mayor Ray Flynn. Guards from the Deer Island House of Correction began gathering in South Boston late this afternoon to protest conditions at the facility. News Center 5's Ron Allen is standing by with a live report. Ron?
There's been a quiet parade along the street here, and Mayor Flynn is not here to listen to what the demonstrators have to say. But several dozen prison guards came here anyway to make their point about the poor conditions at the Deer Island jail. Conditions that include overcrowding and poor security arrangements. Conditions that the guards say often lead to violence. The bottom line is that the guards feel that performing their jobs entails too much of a risk, and they think that no one is listening. The prison guards at Deer Island are becoming increasingly restless. In recent months, they have picketed City Hall, and now they are at Ray Flynn's doorstep. They work at a prison 135 years old and showing its age, and no one on either side of this dispute will argue that point. These pictures were taken in the cell block several years ago, and since that time, conditions have worsened. The prison was built to house about 350 inmates. Nearly 500 are there now. The guards insist that the issue is health and safety, theirs and the prisoners as well.
We're here to protest the dangerous levels of conditions that exist on the Deer Island House of Correction.
And 2 recent escapes through the front gate have again focused attention on security concerns. A guard was seriously injured several weeks ago, and although a new fence is in place and a military truck is there for support, the guards still doubt a plan to enhance security will ever be accomplished.
2 inmates stole the car and they crashed into Senior Officer Legerio. He had 100 stitches in his head, and we had told the city through grievances as well as 2 informational pickets, but that gate has to be fixed. It wasn't, and we have an officer seriously injured because of it.
The solution is complicated by the fact that the jail may not be here for long. The legislature is considering a bill that would have the state take over and perhaps move the facility. The governor and Mayor Flynn also want to move the jail if the nearby sewage treatment plant on the island is expanded.
Well, the conditions at the House of Correction are not very good. There's no question about it. And it makes no sense to me at this particular time to invest $2 or $3 or $4 million in renovating the House of Correction, later to find out that the House of Correction is not going to be located on that location.
The union officials are here with me now, and Jim, the mayor says that it's going to take time. There are bills before the legislature that might lead to the jail being moved. Doesn't make sense to dump a lot of money in that kind of a facility.
Well, if lives aren't worth risking money, putting money into something, I don't know what is. Mr. Flynn made an obligation to the taxpayers when he took mayor's job that he would improve the conditions, he would improve public safety, and he has not proved it at this place anyway.
You can't accept the argument that it's going to take time and that, in fact, there is a plan to build a new Deer Island and probably not in the location that it's in now.
Well, if the money was allocated today and they had the check in their hand today, it would still take 10 years before that plan or that building will be ready. That is not the answer.
Why are you focusing your attention on the mayor? Isn't it perhaps the state that also deserves some of the blame, if you will, for this?
I don't think so at this time. Mr. Flynn is Mr. Flynn is responsible for it at this point in time, and the state, if there's a takeover bill, if it does come into effect, it's anybody's guess. Nobody really knows.
Okay, thank you very much for being with us. Again, the guards also say that in about 2 weeks there'll be another form of demonstration if they don't get a response from the mayor's office. For now, reporting live from South Boston, Ron Allen, News Center 5. Pam, back to you.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Ron.
that's the worst, but that's it. We just don't want, and myself and Jim do not want to see a correctional officer killed because of the conditions.
And with those words of intense frustration, prison guards hold a candlelight vigil of solidarity in front of Boston Mayor Ray Flynn's South Boston home. Good evening. Lester Strong is off. Tonight's New England News headline: angry prison guards from Deer Island Jail say they've had enough and want Mayor Ray Flynn to clean up that old prison. The guards held their vigil for an hour or two earlier tonight. They say protests like this are necessary because of what they call Ray Flynn's do-nothing attitude about worsening conditions at the jail.
The overcrowding, the rat and roach infestation of the prison, the high degree of violence among the inmates. 2 inmates stole the car and they crashed into Senior Officer Legerio. He had 100 stitches in his head, and we had told the city through grievances as well as 2 informational pickets, but that gate has to be fixed. It wasn't, and we have an officer seriously injured because of it.
That jailbreak took place last month. After an intense search, both men were recaptured. But that escape attempt is only the most recent of Deer Island's many problems. Boston is under a court order to make millions of dollars in repairs to the 19th century jail. Judge after judge has ruled the facility unfit for inmates. But today, Mayor Flynn says he doesn't want the city to spend a lot of money on Deer Island because the state may be taking it over soon.
It makes no sense to me at this particular time to invest $2 or $3 or $4 million in renovating the House of Correction, later to find out that the House of Correction is not going to be located on that location. So I'm hoping that the people at the State House can move forward.
Well, I can't wait till the state takes over, to be perfectly honest with you, because maybe then the funds will be there. But in the meantime, Mr. Flynn has an obligation to the taxpayers. They have an obligation to the community surrounding Deer Island, and he has not lived up to that obligation at all.
And as a backdrop to this controversy, guards at Deer Island have been working without a contract for the past 18 months, and they want one soon.
The 135-year-old jail is overcrowded, understaffed, and falling apart, jeopardizing the safety of themselves and the inmates, as well as Winthrop residents living nearby.
If we were in the city of Boston with some of the other unions, maybe they'd, recognize us. It seems out there no one really cares about the officers or the people that have to do time down there.
The guards say not enough is being done to make the jail secure, citing 4 escapes through the front gate over the past 2 years, including one last month that left a guard injured. Mayor Flynn, who was not at home to witness the picket line, says the city would be wasting its money if it financed all the improvements the guards want, since there's legislation pending to turn the facility over to the state.
It makes no sense to me at this particular time to invest $2 or $3 or $4 million in renovating the House of Correction, later to find out that the House of Correction is not going to be located on that location. So I'm hoping that the people at the State House can move forward. I agree with many of the grievances regarding the physical conditions of the House of Correction by the guards.
The corrections officers say that they will be prepared to take stronger action in 2 weeks if nothing is done to improve the conditions they've been complaining about, hinting that that stronger action may be a court suit. In South Boston, Mike Macklin, TV4 Eyewitness News, Nightcast.
The mayor is saying he's not sure when the legislature will act on the bill turning Deer Island over to the state. They took their candlelight vigil to the home of Boston Mayor Ray Flynn. Health and safety have been concerns for the guards and inmates, but there's talk of moving the prison to another location. For that reason, the mayor says his hands are just about tied.
It makes no sense to me at this particular time to invest $2 or $3 or $4 million in renovating the House of Correction, later to find out that the House of Correction is not going to be located on that location.
The Deer Island facility is now 135 years old. It was built to house 350 prisoners, but right now nearly 500 inmates reside there.
It now appears last fall's Boston Arts Festival may have been...
T-minus 15 seconds.